many humans deny I have another dark, near-death experience. This one is based on true events. A man being resuscitated kept returning to hell each time he flatlined. Let's go to the story. There are some near-death experiences that bring comfort, life, reassurance. This is not one of those stories. What you're about to hear is a documented, medically witnessed account gathered by cardiologist Dr. Maurice Rawlings, a man who spent decades resuscitating patients, people who danced on the edge of death and came back, but none of them terrified him the way this man did. This is the story of the man who didn't just die once, he died over and over again. Each time he fell into something darker than nightmares could ever imagine. It began on a quiet afternoon in the late 1970s. A middle-aged man, early 50s, slightly overweight, was taking a routine stress test in Rawlings' office. He had been having chest pains, nothing unusual, nothing immediately alarming. He was walking on the treadmill, breathing heavily, sweat dripping down his temples, and then mid-sentence he stopped talking. His eyes rolled back, his knees buckled, he fell face first onto the floor with a sickening thud. No pulse, no breathing, a clinical death unfolding right in front of the medical team. Dr. Rawlings jumped to his knees, beginning chest compressions as the nurse scrambled for the crash cart. It should have been straightforward. It wasn't, because the moment Rawlings began pushing life into him, the man opened his eyes, not fully, just a flicker, but his face twisted with a horror Rawlings had never seen in a dying patient. And then he screamed. The scream ripped through the room, a sound full of terror, not pain. "Don't let me go back, please." His voice was hoarse and broken, like he had been screaming for hours, but he had only been unconscious for seconds. Rawlings paused, startled, long enough for the man's heart to flatline again. Clear. Another shock, another jolt of life. The man's eyes surged open again, this time wider, frantic, and he grabbed Rawlings by the coat with shaking hands. "Help me, don't let me go back there." Then his pupils dilated. He collapsed again, dead. The medical team exchanged panicked looks. This wasn't normal. People in cardiac arrest didn't have full conversations. Rawlings restarted compressions. Again the man came back. And again, "I'm in hell. You don't understand. I'm in hell." He thrashed on the floor, trying to crawl away from something they could not see. Then he died a third time. When they finally stabilized him long enough to breathe on his own, the man was trembling uncontrollably. Sweat soaked through his gown, his lips were blue. Rawlings knelt beside him. "What did you see?" The man stared at the ceiling, jaws locked, eyes filled with an emotion Rawlings could only describe as soul-deep fear. "I was falling," he whispered, "not floating like they say, falling, straight down." Rawlings waited. The man swallowed hard. There was a pit, a black, bottomless pit. I couldn't see the bottom. I couldn't stop myself. It pulled me down like gravity, but colder, like it knew I was coming. His voice cracked. There were others down there. Rawlings frowned. Other people. No, not people, shapes, shadows. They were moving. They were waiting for me. He shivered violently. They weren't human. The man explained that each time his heart stopped, he instantly dropped into the void. Not a dream, not a hallucination, a place that darkness, it wasn't empty. He said, "It felt alive, like it was a breathing in the dark, and every time I fell, the shadows got closer." "What did they do?" Rawlings asked. "They didn't touch me. Not yet. They just circled, watching me, like hunters waiting for prey to die." His breathing sped up, but the last time my heart stopped, one of them reached for me, closed his eyes, fighting tears. It was so cold, Doctor, like its hand went through me, like it was pulling me out of myself. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I was weightless, empty, nothing. He grabbed Rawlings' wrist tightly. If you let me die again, I'm not getting away this time. Hours later, the man's heart faltered again. Alarms blared and the monitor spiked, then dropped. His body jerked, flatline. Rawlings rushed to revive him, adrenaline burning through him. He slapped the pads on the man's chest and shocked him. Once, twice. On the third attempt, the man's body arched off the bed and he gasped. A ragged, broken inhale, but this time he didn't scream. He whispered, a soft, defeated whisper. They saw me. They know me now. It took 2 full days before the man was stable, but he refused to sleep. Every time his eyes closed, he jolted awake, terrified he would die and return to the pit. He told Rawlings there was no light, no warmth, no God, just darkness, and those things, and they wanted me. Rawlings, who had seen every type of medical emergency imaginable, said this was the first time he genuinely believed a patient had witnessed something far beyond brain chemistry or dreams, because the fear wasn't fading, it was growing. The man survived, but he was never the same. Friends later told Rawlings the man couldn't sit alone in a dark room, couldn't sleep without lights on, and refused to talk about what he saw ever again. But on his last day in the hospital before he was discharged, he said one final thing to Rawlings. I didn't go to hell because I was evil. I went because I was empty, because there was nothing in me worth holding on to. He stared out the window, voice hollow. The pit is for people who lived without living. People who drifted through life, people who had nothing in them but nothing. He turned. That was me. Some near-death experiences are comforting, some are peaceful, some fill people with hope, but others tear open a place we aren't meant to see. A place of darkness, a place of isolation, a place that waits for the hollow part of us. This man didn't die once, he died multiple times, and each time he returned to the same horrifying truth. Sometimes the worst hell is the one built out of everything we failed to become. For him, that darkness wasn't metaphor, it was real, and it was waiting. Now, that was creepy. For more stories like this, like and subscribe. Have a spooky night and scary nightmares.